I really enjoyed watching this guy play during his career, and I was very happy that I was already retired by then because he was the type of guy that gave me the most trouble. So I'm talking with Gerald McCoy, by the way. He's one of the co-hosts of McCoy and Van Noy on Yahoo Sports. Kyle Van Noy, I thought he was going to retire like 3 years ago. He just back-to-back years he had his career high in sacks.
I know, yeah.
That is wild, by the way. But it's funny. So when I played Gerald, the guys like you that I went against, Warren Sapp, Leroy Glover,
absolutely.
What's his last? Bryant Young.
Yeah.
Bryant Young, Hall of
Young
Famer for the Niners.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when you came out, that's who you reminded me of.
Thanks,
just
man.
the guy with the explosiveness up the B gap. Man, those guys, it's hard. It is hard.
Rod Marinelli called the under tackle a 3 technique, and Joe Cullen, echoed this when he became my coach at Tampa. He said the 3 technique or under tackle is the piston that drives the engine. So when Tony Dungy put that in at Tampa, they needed a guy who could be that guy for the defense. And that's who Warren Sapp was. And that's who guys have been. You see, go all the way back to Keith Millard, John Randall. Whenever you have that style of play, Aaron Donalds, the people like that, you got to have a guy right there in that B gap that can, whether he's rushing the pass or getting upfield and the run, he just messes up everything. Because, if you zoning, that running back's reading that 3 technique. So if he's upfield early, it's like, well, dang, I got to cut back early. Now the defense just goes with him. In the past, quarterbacks hate that pressure up the middle. If you got that guy in the middle, make the quarterback step up. You got ends can fall underneath. You got nose tackles that's getting these extra sacks. That's just how it was.
I love hearing you say the name Keith Millard.
Yeah, Keith Millard coached me.
Oh, okay. Because Keith Millard was like
a lot of people don't know about Keith.
75 for the Vikings. Yeah. Like when I was growing up, that's who I was. So I was like, how does Gerald know about Keith Millard?
Yeah.
He coached you. I got it.
So when Aaron Donald got the 20 sacks, a lot of people don't know the record he broke for defensive tackles, interior sacks, was Keith Millard's. A lot of people didn't know that.
So
18 and a half.
It's funny because, we know how much money that edge guys make.
Right.
And I got no issue with edge guys getting paid, okay? I would submit to you, though, I think, especially in today's NFL, I think after quarterback, you can make an argument that dominant D tackle is the second most important position. The reason why I say that is because I feel like teams are doing a better job of the quarterbacks getting it out quick or stepping up into the pocket.
Right.
Especially you think about like a Tom Brady, right? Or like that, the edge guy can win around the edge, and if Brady drops back or whoever and then steps up, the edge guy still might not get there. If you have a consistent inside pressure guy like you, even if you're not getting, which it drives me crazy. There's these different companies that count what a pressure is or not. Like I'll read stats when I'm calling a game drill. It'll be like, one thing will say he has 84 pressure, another will say he has 68 pressure. I'm like, that's a big difference. Like, which one are we going with?
Right.
My point is that for a D tackle like you, even if it doesn't count as a pressure, if you're pushing that guy back at all, I never played quarterback, but they tell me it is hard to throw out of that.
Yeah.
You feel like you can't step in. You feel like you're thrown out of like a basement.
Well, to your point, we've seen Chris Jones have a lot of dominant games.
Yeah.
One of the most dominant games I've ever seen him have was this past AFC Championship, and nobody knows it because they're not looking for it. What he did to those offensive linemen is demoralizing. He was literally like taking grown men every play, regardless of if it was a run or pass, and putting them 4 yards in the backfield. As an offensive lineman, that's constantly happening. At some point, you're going to be like, all right, enough is enough.
Right.
When you have a guy like that's doing that, it is demoralizing to an offense because now the play caller is saying, hey, listen, whatever we do, understand this person is going to be there that fast. So you have to get it together. And to your point, back to team building, you got to get a guy who can throw the ball, and then you got a guy who can go get the guy who can throw the ball. So we think about quarterback, and then we think about our blindside defensive ends. Well, the game is evolving. It's a lot of lateral runs. It's not downhill anymore. So how do you kill finesse offenses? Side-to-side runs with penetration.
Yep.
If you're getting guys on the end. We talk about defense. Guys set the edge, which makes everything funnel back to the middle of the defense. But when you have side-to-side runs, a guy in the middle who's poking a hole in that run, that's what messes everything up. So because the game is evolving, a dominant D tackle is becoming more valuable than your edge rusher because of how much he can affect the game directly. Everything that happens in the middle affects the game a lot faster than on the ends.
Totally agree. The other thing is, so all my starts, I got time at all 5 spots, but all my starts were center and both guards.
Yeah.
I never understood, Gerald. Like, to me, I would never run a defense that's like a read and react defense.
Yeah.
As an offensive lineman, I loved going against those guys.
I tell
guys
coaches all the
that
time.
were always playing technique. Because also, if they're always playing technique, not only do you know where they're going to be, right? But if you know this guy has to have the B gap, he has to sit there, can't come off the ball, you can manipulate them.
Absolutely.
Yes, you can try to stretch them. You can go to their outside number. Oh, I got to get out there.
Yes,
you can move it. You guys are the ones. A read and react guy is never going to make me look bad.
No.
He might make the tackle for 3-yard gain or something. You guys could make us look real bad.
And most of the time it's because he's sitting at the line. And I tell D tackles, this new age of coaching, they got guys who are sitting at the line, moving sideways, because everybody's so afraid of the RPO. They're bringing in an extra DB or extra linebacker to defend the RPO. But what they're not understanding, if you get 4 guys up front that can get upfield, that disrupts everything that these offenses are doing, and the side-to-side lateral movement, those guys are not affecting the game the way guys who get penetration is. And to your point, yes, we had the B gap, but Rob Marinelli inserted something called a tag, and what that means is you stay on your line. So if that guard overreaches and you might fall underneath, the backer behind you, he'll cover you up. But get in the backfield and disrupt, because playing on their side of line of scrimmage is better than just sitting at the line in the B gap, because now, like you said, y'all can manipulate that. You can either hook him, the running back can see better, but if the guy's in the backfield, it's hard to see everything.
So you had your last 2 years, I think, 2 bad injuries, right?
Yeah, I had back-to-back knee injuries.
Quad tendon
right and left. Yep.
Okay. So in hindsight, do you look at it and say, I wish I hadn't tried to play, those are terrible injuries, they're not good? Or do you look at it and say, I'm so glad I gave it every chance to go and play as long as I could?
Oh, no. I'm always going to be an all-or-nothing guy, man. I'm never going to take a step back and be like, oh, well, maybe I honestly, and let me just say this. Being married
because, by the way, you had already made a lot of dough by that point.
Yeah, and
it wasn't really about the money anymore.
No, at that point it wasn't, because even with the Raiders, I didn't start. I didn't come in and say, I got to be the starter. I just wanted to play. But being married saved me, because I retired because my wife said enough is enough. I was going to try and keep playing even after the knee injuries because I felt great.
Even after 2 quad tendons?
Man, I was like, hey, listen, this is what I signed up for. Rehab, get back to it. And I always say, to play football, especially at the highest level, you got to have a screw loose.
Yeah.
We all got something missing up here.
Yeah.
They talk about CTE and all this stuff. That's like the highest severity of it. If you play football at the highest level, we all got something that's not right up there. And for me, I have no regrets, because I did give it everything I had. I was going to rehab 2 and 3 times. I was doubling up. I worked out year-round. Bruce Smith told me back in 2014, it's easier to stay in shape than get in shape. So from 2014 on, I honestly think that's what happened to my knees. I never took a break.
Ooh, that's interesting.
And I think it just was too much. And I had real bad tendonitis in my knee, and I was thinking, I'll just, treat it, whatever, but I'm not going to stop. And I think if I had taken more breaks and then got back to it, those knee injuries probably wouldn't have happened, but I don't have any regrets with anything that happened.
It's funny you say that, because I talked to Ed McCaffrey during the season, and he said that Christian's injuries were overuse injuries.
Yep.
Same mindset,
Absolutely.
right? Just work through it. Hey, you got to check out their show, by the way. Gerald McCoy, you see him on NFL Network doing a bunch of things now. Kyle Van Noy just keeps getting double-digit sacks for the Ravens. I don't know how he's doing it. It's McCoy and Van Noy with Gerald McCoy, Kyle Van Noy on Yahoo Sports, YouTube, everywhere else, all the major podcast platforms. Thanks for coming on the show, man. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me, man. This is going to be a great week. Busy week, but we're going to have some fun.